It doesn't let you settle in the verses because it wants you to settle in the choruses. There's something catchy about that too. It really commands your attention. Enamored with that whole vocal performance. The depth of his voice, the passion, it can just fill up a room. It makes the song so huge. Who wore it better? Welcome back to Low End University. It's time for another bonus episode where I do a random drawing for all the requests I received over on Patreon last month. Now, if you've been here this month, we're also in the middle of another channel theme. It's titled Who Wore It Better, where I take an original song, a popular cover of the same song, and determine ultimately, well, who did it better, especially regarding the bass lines. Well, Mark, how exactly is this going to work? I'm so glad you asked. Each month I take requests on Patreon, and last month I had them request songs that fit within the Who Wore It Better theme. So everyone requested 2 artists, the same song, and I'm going to randomly draw that as well to make sure we're on theme for the month. So this is going to be extra blind in the sense that I might not even know who the original is if I don't already recognize the artist. So let's see if I can make this work. I haven't done this before, but let's first do the drawing as we always do. As you can see, we have 2 artists listed in all of these columns here, 1 song, and let's go from there. I had 169 submissions. So 1 through 169 on the random number generator, and whatever's on line 87 is going to be the 2 artists I hear of the same song. So line 87, oh boy, let's see what we have here. That is Alkaline Trio, Hot Water Music, Bleeder. Great, I know both bands. Revenge of Keith, You Win Today. Cool, I know they have a split album. I've seen that mentioned in the comments. I would love to get to the full thing as well, but let's hear a song from it. Bleeder. I don't know who originally wrote it. That's the problem. So let's just start with Alkaline Trio as it's listed that way. Bleeder. And don't know who wrote it, but I can still compare, analyze, and break it down. Let's go.
Came to me like a dream, the kind that always leaves.
I've only heard 1 Alkaline Trio song so far on the channel. That was Mr. Chainsaw. I did see them live. There's a whole story about it on there. I don't really remember much. So this is another artist I've really failed to get in deeper with.
Just as the
Glad this won.
part starts, it ends so abruptly, and leaves you stunned and naked in your bedroom.
Nice, kind of filthy jazz bass sounding tone. Some nice moving bass stuff here. Let's see when that came in. I'm going to assume this is the original just because of the album artwork. You know, I think the Alkaline Trio Hot Water Music thing is part of that BYO series, and I only know about it because I did Stick It in My Eye a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to go with that for now. Let's go back here.
Part starts, it ends so abruptly, and leaves you stunned and naked in your bedroom all alone. Kinda funny how something so serene gets interrupted by the ring of a telephone.
Hear that major 5. So nice kind of poppy progression here. I like that the bass moving around contributes to that rub happening in the guitar part because we have this, let's say C major, and it goes up to like the sus4 with no third. So this is neither major or minor, by the way. There's no third. You have to have a third to make it major or minor, technically speaking. Then it kind of vamps, I think, down a 4th or up a 5th. So if I hear that guitar chord, let me just go back when it was by itself for a second to make sure.
Dream, the kind that always leaves, just as the best part starts, it ends so abruptly.
Okay, back to where we were. Now that the bass has made its appearance.
I've been drinking, I'm out of smokes, and I wish that I had it. Woke up to my daily headache and the realization that you are gone. Oh, my sweet darling.
Just listen to how the bass line doesn't lock in with the guitar part necessarily. It sounds like it's trying to kind of find where to land. there's a lot of clashing happening. Basically, between the bass and the guitar part, there's some cluster chord stuff happening. So again, we have this. And the bass is down here. If I were to kind of hold this out, the bass is going. And then I hear the bass going to the D while the guitar is on like this thing. And then if the guitar goes up to this, the sus4, C, and F, the bass might still be on that D. So we have this sound happening. And then when it goes down to the G thing, I hear the bass kind of like... So it's like all the notes in the C major scale are kind of just coalescing like a kaleidoscope at any given time. That's why when you really listen to it, you're like, the bass isn't just landing in one place. It's slithering around and creating that... I don't want to say tension isn't the goal here, but it's just an interesting sound, I find. So I'm sure it's going to kind of coalesce on like a chorus drop thing, but let's keep going. You know, just everywhere. Never sitting in one place too long. That's just kind of what it's doing. Very cool. I like the vocals. Exactly. So now you hear everything coming together. There's none of this happening. All that stuff going on. There's just big A minor on the chorus. Sparse. There's some space in it now. Letting the vocals really have a moment. Okay. That's catchy as hell. That was a really nice chorus with some like counterpoint things happening. We had that kind of yeah thing happening. That big jump on the vocal melody. Almost sounded like a sixth or a whole octave. Yeah, that's great. I love when there's any sort of secondary vocal that has that cascading melody happening. Let's go right when the chorus started. Everything comes together. Not there. Forgive my singing, but it's a big jump. There's something catchy about that too. It really commands your attention. You know, if a vocal melody is just cool, it's great, that can be effective too, but something about the... Maybe that's a seventh jump? I think it's G to A. That's a dominant seven. It's a flat seven jump, almost an octave. That was a moment where things kind of gelled together too. The bass wasn't meandering, it just got real straight. We kind of haven't heard the verse in that mode yet, and I feel like the bass is starting to move back around a bit, but those little dynamic things really make you pay attention. Okay, back moving around. Back to everywhere. I'm going to call this like the smearing part of the song. It almost feels more like a pre-chorus now. But back to the guitar, switching between the bass, just kind of everywhere in the scale, C major. And I like how they join together here, because you hear that, yeah, yeah, yeah. You hear that in the left channel, which would be over there for you. So they're different. It kind of helps spread the vocal imaging apart, but then they sing the same thing, creating that doubling effect, because no two humans can ever be perfectly on pitch. But sometimes you want that a little bit of a discrepancy. It creates that widening effect, but it's already like that because the vocals are panned a little bit. So it's just a cool vocal arrangement right here. Now they're together. You hear that like plurality? I like it. Okay. I can tell you one thing. I'm kind of excited to hear Hot Water Music's take on this. Gotta love that band. I'm much more familiar with them than Alkaline Trio. And I hope I'm not misspeaking now. I hope this is the cover of theirs. I'll have to find out between songs, but let's get through it.
You never did for what you never did. Never did for what you never
Soaring. Man, you just feel the power in that delivery. There's something lightly happening back there that makes it feel like it's fluttering. I don't know if the drums are just adding a bit more subdivision in the kick, or maybe the toms kind of gently, or it's just mixed a little more in the background. Maybe that's the bass, but you hear this kind of, you kind of hear this fluttering thing happen. Let me just hear it again. I feel like it's just a bass and drum thing that might be more subtle. I think the guitar might be taking part in that as well. But you just feel, I don't know, the ground's a little shaky here. Underneath this big soaring vocal, it almost has this like earthquake thing right here in the song. Big. I like how it's going to the major 5 there. You could call it maybe the major 3 chord, but that would typically resolve to A minor. I think it has earlier, but this is kind of going back to the 5 chord in G. So we have that major 3 chord, but they're really leaning into that dominant sound there. Because that wants so badly to go to not that chord. Yeah, there we go. I need to look at the fretboard more when I'm talking. But yeah, this wants so badly to go to the A minor. You just feel it all. But it's not giving you that, it's giving you this. With that G sharp up top, going down to G major, which is kind of an odd. So it functions maybe more just like the major 3 chord. Don't know, but that half step down to G, it's a little off kilter sounding. Yeah, okay. It works. And there's the A minor. That's where it wants to go. Now we're on it. They just put the G major between it. to where we started. Okay, just very quickly, just so I know, who did Bleeder? Okay, this is originally by Alkaline Trio. It's from their first album, compilation album. Here we go with the reissue rabbit hole. I was just talking about this. I don't want to take up a ton of time going down the reissue rabbit hole, but it says compilation album. Okay, whatever. I don't want to get too caught up in this. We have to go check out the Hot Water Music version now, which I just reviewed A Flight and a Crash over on Patreon. It's the first full Hot Water Music album I heard. I loved it. What an interesting group, the way they write. But let's hear their take on Bleeder. Hopefully I'm still on track here with the correct research. Hot Water Music Split. This sounds right. There it is. Bleeder, originally performed by Alkaline Trio. And it's on the album just titled Split. Split EP. This isn't part of that BYO series, I suppose. I feel like maybe I misread. But I know about a Split album they both did. Okay, let's hear the cover. I'm glad I did these in the right order. Bleeder, Hot Water Music. Man, I know the vocals are going to be good on this. Acoustic this time, where it was cleaner, slightly overdriven electric guitar last time.
It came to me like a dream.
God, I love his voice already.
The kind that always leaves just when the best part starts. It ends so
same key.
abruptly.
Okay.
To leave you stunned and naked in the bedroom all alone. It's kind of funny how something so soothing gets interrupted by the ring of a telephone.
Is it all acoustic? I don't know. Strings? Is that a cello?
And you burned me like a cigarette that I busted on the day I quit. Now that I've been trained.
This could be all acoustic. I don't know. I'm enjoying this anyway. What I like about this here is that you really get to hear some of that that lower end information that's happening beneath these. So I hear this kind of cello jump, 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 kind of gives it this like cinematic feel, like soundtrack is jump, jump, jump. So the cello just adds that woody texture to everything. And you get to feel kind of the weight of these chords before things kicked in on the last one. So let's see what happens.
Might have smoked and I wish that I had it. Woke up to my daily headache and the realization that you were gone. Oh my sweet darling happiness, you've been away from me all along.
I feel like those cello notes are going up to the B this time. I don't know if the bass was quite doing that, but I feel like the cello might be mirroring the guitar chords a bit more in the root notes there.
It's one thing I never said. I'm truly happy in my heart and in my head.
Ooh.
A lonely liver suspended in liquid.
Chuck's voice, man.
It came to me like a dream, the kind that always leaves just when the best part starts. It ends so abruptly.
And so
To
abruptly,
leave you stunned and naked in the
Standing naked?
bedroom all alone.
I'm not really paying attention to the lyrics, at least on the last one. I guess it's all there really is to focus on here. I guess there is no full band thing. What a cool take on it, though. Yeah, this sounds like a very anguish-laden song. Some sort of relationship thing or falling out. I like the adaptation, and I think it's just always a treat to hear Chuck Ragan leave it all out there. Again, I've said this before. I have a couple friends, IRL, in real life, who are huge Hot Water Music fans, who've seen him solo, who've know him personally or have spent a lot of time. I didn't know this until I reviewed them on the channel. And they were just like, when Chuck Ragan performs, it could be to one person. It might even be in the practice room. It could be to a whole sold out show, but he's full of sweat. He leaves it all out there. He's belting it out, red in the face. And they just kind of have said every time he performs, it's like that, like 110%. So they told me that early on. I think it was right after I reviewed Drag My Body, because I was just enamored with that whole vocal performance. And you can go back and listen to what he laid down on that vocally, and like, yeah, you can totally see that. Almost just like eating the mic with power. So let's see how this plays out. This is a nice rendition.
It's kind of funny how something so soothing gets interrupted by the ring of a telephone. It's one thing I never said. I'm truly happy in my heart and in my head.
I'm not going to pause it.
It's one thing I never did was smile. Missing a case like in a lead. My heart bleeds for what you never did until now.
Verdict? Oh, did I just fuck up by talking right then?
Love when bands leave stuff like that in there. So while I was kind of bummed that wasn't a full band hot water music thing, only because I wanted to hear what Jason Black did with a bass line that was already really involved, I think the unexpected win here for me is that I've never heard anything solo by Chuck Ragan. And I'm not necessarily saying that's a solo thing, but it was predominantly his performance. And I'm just thinking back to what my friends have told me, like, you got to check out his solo work or see a solo show, because it's just a captivating performance. And I just really kind of felt that through the speakers here, the tiny ones. I think there were some different chords happening slightly that changed the context of the melody a bit, because what we have here skeletally, barebones, is a great melody. That one thing, that big jump, and then the things happening around it that I think might have been more portrayed in the guitar. And yeah, I've only heard Chuck in a full band setting, so I think this was kind of a silver lining of this. I just really like it. The depth of his voice, the passion, it can just fill up a room. It makes the song so huge. But we have to get the inevitable over. Who worked better? I mean, I got to say Alkaline Trio here, just because the bass line was so great, and it was a full band thing. I would love to hear how Hot Water Music would play this as a full band. And you know, I never know. Maybe they have. Maybe I got the wrong version, but I don't think I did, because this was really good. It sounded immense. A captivating listen. And again, I'm going to walk away from this episode going, I got to hear Chuck in that mode that everyone's telling me to listen to, and I haven't yet. But Alkaline Trio, I have to give it to them just because, well, it's their song, but the bass was great. I think it took the approach of a really complex bass line that doesn't sit anywhere for too long. It doesn't let you settle in the verses because it wants you to settle in the choruses. That's kind of the play here. That's the mark of a great bass player with great musical intuition. They're going to control when you can let loose and go, that's usually the chorus, right? That's where it all has to hit. So I love the approach of that. I love the dueling vocals in the original, the split thing happening. It was just super catchy. So wow, I didn't expect to be entering into the split Alkaline Trio Hot Water Music album so quickly, but the random number generator gods do this every time. I've found so much great stuff. I think we've been doing this about 15, 16 months now. But yeah, usually on the last Sunday of every month, these will go up. But if you want to participate in this, come find us on Patreon. It's the best way to support the channel. Again, I've reviewed A Flight and a Crash in full over there just last month, alongside about 30 other punk albums. Great community. I have bass lessons, music theory lessons, and just like everything I've ever done on video is pretty much over there. So come hang out with us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We have we have 3 more Who Wore It Better episodes coming up before I'm going to go back to regularly scheduled programming with single songs. So there's some bangers in the queue. Make sure you hit the bell notification so you're notified. Stick around. I love you all. We'll see you in the next one. You know, I've never once in the history of this channel turned the camera back on after saying, see you next time, but it just dawned on me and I had to. The friend I was referring to in this video, the big fan of Hot Water Music, I'm about to go to his benefit show here in town as soon as I get done with this. And he's going through chemotherapy right now. He was diagnosed with cancer. He's had some health struggles. And he's the one that said, you got to check out Chuck's solo. Well, they both did. I'm referring to my friends Jim Reed, Andy Clark, but this is a benefit show for Jim Reed. Great guy, amazing musician. I've worked with him in the past when I worked at the brewery. I hate to hear he's going through that, but I just kind of was thinking back to that Chuck performance because he has a voice kind of like Chuck. It's kind of gravelly, big. So maybe this was all just kind of preparing me for the show because, you know, life's short, guys. When your friends and people you know get sick or they pass on, or I hope that's not the case here, but sometimes there's little reminders in music or things that necessarily don't connect, but maybe they're all connected in some way. So I don't know. I just had to come back on and share that because I turned the camera off. I'm like, I'm about to leave to go to Jim's show. He's the Hot Water Music fan who's always said you got to check out some of the solo Chuck stuff. Anyway, I just had to leave you with that note. I'll really see you next time now. Love you all.